go, recording in progress. I'm so excited about tonight. I know Christine is an amazing business coach. I have had the pleasure of chatting with her a couple of times already, and just hearing her perspective is done so much for me in so many ways. So I am really excited about what you're going to be getting today. Hopefully, see, we're having a bit of problem with video. There we go. It's back. So welcome, Christine. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I'm going to hand over to you now, and can't wait to hear what you have to say.
So good morning. It's morning in my part of the world, and it's usually always raining. And today is super sunny. So just this flood of light, I don't want to miss it. So don't mind if I happen to be like feeling, oh, sunshine over there. It's so nice to come to you from around the world. This is really exciting. I am thrilled that Tamron invited me to come chat with you guys this morning. And for those of you I don't know, feel free to unmute yourself. Tell me a little bit about where you are, and I will swap stories so I can guide you on the journey we're going to take today. So I know I'm going to put Megan right on the spot because I know you, but ask where you are, where you're at with your business, and a little bit about yourself.
Thanks, Christine. Hi there. I'm Megan. I'm based in Cape Town, South Africa, and I'm a technical and creative copywriter and content creator. And yeah, I'm a crazy music lover and lots of other creative stuff besides. And yeah, Christine and I network together. Thanks, Christine.
Nice to see you. Nice to always have a friendly face in the crowd, and that's a good tip if you are ever presenting out there. It's always good to find one friendly face that you know to get this day started. Bren, tell us where you're. Tell me a little bit about you and your story.
I'm Bren. I'm from Cape Town, South Africa, and co-founder with Lana of a romance ghostwriting agency.
Ooh, fun.
And yeah, it was sort of just born out of our need to build lives without having to forgo our creative sides. So that's kind of what we decided to do.
Yeah. I love it. Courage over it. I love it. Lana, how about you?
So I'm Lana, who Bren was talking about. So yeah, we're actually sisters. So we've been dreaming up ideas together for our whole lives. So it's been really cool to make something a reality, and getting to do it with Bren has been awesome.
I love that. You guys look like actually my best friend and her sister. So it's just, I'm going to tell you, that's a very good start. All right. So Tamron, of course I know you, but do you want to come and say hello? Does everybody know you? Is there anything unique you want to share with us today?
I hope everybody knows me. Hi. But yeah, I run the Farside group. So we have Farside Accounting that helps you with anything number related. We have Farside Solutions, which helps you with anything other problem that you have. But I have a specific focus on helping people prevent burnout while building their businesses. And that's what the Business Builder is all about. It's teaching you how to build a business, all the building blocks, and hopefully in small little bits once a week so that you can take it in and implement it without it overwhelming you. And those of you who've been coming every week, I'm so excited that you have. Thank you. And I hope you're really looking forward to next week when we have our implementation forum, because that's going to be really exciting.
It's awesome. Lovely. Thank you very much for this. Iselle, you're just popping onto my screen.
Hi, sorry, I apologize. I'm putting my video off. We've got a howling wind here in the Strand, and then my connection kind of drops. So if I put my video off, I can hear better. So I work with Tamron in Farside Accounting.
Beautiful.
Very exciting. Yeah, great to see your enthusiasm and being part of this journey and building it up. And lots to learn. Very nice to meet you. Where are you in the States?
I'm actually in Canada, and I'm normally in Calgary. If you think of like any pictures of Canada where there's mountains and the turquoise lakes, I live near there. I'm not there currently because I'm in Victoria State, my parents, but people always think like Canada's this one place, but I'm like, it's a very large country, the second or third largest in the planet. But I live an hour from the most photographed bit of my country.
Oh,
So I'm near
wow.
the Rocky Mountains usually.
Oh,
But today
wow.
I'm oceanside, and that's the reflection off the water that's hitting me in my parents' dining room. Because
Beautiful.
that's the joy of a beautiful business. You can take it
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that vision in our session this morning. But welcome, nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Vincent, do you want to come on? I know we did chat a little bit before, but we are now recording live. So if you have the ability to pop on, tell us a little bit about you and where you're at.
I'm Vincent from Botswana, Gaborone. I'm an accountant and a business development consultant. I've been offering CVs since 2006. And then with luck, last time I met with Miss Dix, who just introduced me to some of our programs. So which I'm just glad that today I will learn a lot. Thank
Beautiful.
you.
It's nice to have you with us. And then Anthony, if you're able to pop on, come on and introduce yourself to the group if you're able.
Hi, sorry.
No worries.
I'm Ant. I'm an MD and founder of a post-production studio. We do anything based on content. Worked with Tam for many years. Yeah, thought I'd join and see what new exciting adventures she's on.
That's awesome. But it's so welcoming to meet you all. You know, I often think that people come into business one of two ways. The intentional entrepreneur, like who knew it from a young age, that was my path. I was always going to want to do something for myself. And then there's everybody else. And I will tell you that everybody else is most of us. Most of us are the accidental entrepreneur. There's something in our life. And I talk a lot about plot twists. If you follow me, you'll know that the word plot twist and the theme of plot twist is something I talk about because it's a great analogy. In a storyline, and we're going to talk about story today in some of the things we're going to talk about, but story is everything. And there's a moment of plot twist. In a plot twist, there's a crisis, a period of darkness. You're in the wilderness. You're on the floor going, I can hardly breathe. But eventually you make the decision of, I need to move because I can't stay here. Everyone takes a different period of time through that. Everyone looks at what the outcome is, but we as observers in life love the plot twist because we like to cheer for the underdog. And the accidental entrepreneur to me is the underdog. There's somebody who said, you know, pound sand somewhere along their journey and said, I will create something for myself. And I will tell you, if you have the vision, you can achieve it. And it's really important to know that you don't have to have all the answers. And if you get stuck in the cycle of how, you will spin, probably get nauseous and fall over. So stop spinning. And I'm going to try to help you stop spinning today because the theme of the session today is like, how do you go from a hobby business to a thriving business? And part of it is getting out of the spin cycle. And I'm going to talk in some strategies specifically to help you do that. But the goal is that you do rise through whatever plot twist you have. And if it was career loss, it was a decision that the work-life balance isn't in harmony for me, or whatever it was for you specifically, chances are you hit a plot twist. And that's why you made the decision to start down the path. As you are coming out of the darkness, chances are it's not smooth sailing. So anybody have a perfect ride so far and it's really easy and it's all working and clients are flowing effortlessly? Because hello, probably not. That's okay. That's normal, but it doesn't need to be as hard as I think we make it. And my background is I'm actually one of the rare ones. I knew I'd be an entrepreneur from a really young age. And I asked my parents pretty recently, like, what did I want to be when I grow up? Did I have this, you know, clear path that I followed? Because my two stepdaughters knew what they wanted to do really young and they're doing it. And my mom's like, I don't know, like you never stuck with anything really long. You always had this real sense of independence. And part of my story is while I am Canadian, I see myself really as a global citizen because I've lived in 5 countries. I've lived in 30 cities, some of them more than once. And in my corporate career, and I came from a corporate background, I worked in 9 industries, completely unrelated. So if you think that you can't reinvent yourself, I'm here to say, bull badoodles. It's not, it's a story you're telling yourself. 9 industries. I also worked in 3 job functions. That's highly unusual. Started my early career in branding and marketing, and that brought me into working with clients. And I was an introvert, which you'll find shocking, but I am an introvert. If you spend enough time with me, you'll see it. But I learned to put on confidence, and it's a learnable skill that I help entrepreneurs craft. But as a person who is in sales, I'm like, great, we have this beautiful idea. We have somebody who sees the vision. And then 9 times out of 10, we would rock it up and fall out of the gates and trip over it. And it was always less than I thought it could be. And it would make me crazy. And I ended up in operations because they're like, can you go figure that out? I'm like, sure, and probably save you 30% because we're wasting time, we're wasting money, we're not focusing on the right things, and it would make me crazy. But that skill set of working across job functions makes me highly effective as a business coach, which I never really thought about because I thought it was a skill everyone had. And this is also a light bulb, like you don't know where your brilliance is because you live with it every day. It's helpful to have networks like this in the business builder community to help you see light where you don't know it exists because you think it's just part of your everyday world. And when I looked at my mom and said, where did I want to be when I was a kid? Because you kind of always wanted to do your own thing. And when I look back, when I was first coming out of school, university, my first degree was in business. And I knew I would have lots of options in business. I have a business degree in undergrad. I also have a master's in business as well, in the international side. But I knew I would want to do something for myself. But what I really wanted in my head was to be a corporate raider. This is funny. This is a recent light bulb for me. And corporate raiders go into companies, help turn them around, many times to sell them off. But I never wanted to sell them off. I wanted to turn them around and launch them and make them more amazing. How weird is that? That's exactly what I'm doing now. And I never even realized it. But I knew I'd be an entrepreneur. I had no idea what it would look like. And like a typical type A personality, I just thought, well, if I knew what I wanted to be, I would just go do it. Kind of in my own way. I didn't know what that would look like. And then I hit a career plot twist. And I know Megan has heard this story many a time, but this was my journey. And I think it's important because I want you to just see my journey so that it's relatable to the journey you might be on, or I will tell you, will still come at you at some point in the journey. I, at the time, was running Western Canada in a corporate role. I was helping 500 small businesses be more successful. That's what I was doing corporately in a specific industry that was consumer goods. So competitive, small independent businesses, lots of mom and pops. Hello, small business. And I had a great day on the road. I was expecting to walk into the hotel lobby, have a glass of wine, check my emails, deal with the day. And I walked into the hotel lounge and I saw HR and my boss in the lounge. And I thought, holy Dinah, I'm about to be fired. Because there's no reason HR and my boss is sitting in the hotel lounge, thousands of miles from my house. And my life imploded. I had to suck it up, walk into that lounge, and in 15 minutes, they gave me some papers to sign, a check, and said, thank you very much. They literally went right back to the airport and flew back to Toronto. I wasn't so lucky. My flight wasn't flying until the next day at 3:00 in the afternoon, and there was no way for me to get home. So I had to go up to the hotel where I spent most of the night completely candid, lying on the bathroom floor. I had to make that phone call to my then fiance to say, you know, that house that we wanted to buy, it's off the table because I can't qualify for a mortgage anymore. I also need you to tell your daughters that I've been fired, and they had never known somebody to be fired. So my life was falling apart in so many ways, and I was doing it publicly. We were 3 months from getting married. So if anybody goes through that marriage process, you know, like it's pay me now, pay me now, pay me now, pay me now. And I'm like, I have no job. This is super stressful. Do we need to do this? Should I just cancel everything? Because I just want to go into a hole and cry. I couldn't stay there. And eventually I had to get really honest with myself. Nobody was coming to save me. I wasn't actually the damsel in distress. So my writers would appreciate that. I wasn't the damsel in distress. I was actually the warrior who could save myself. I didn't know what it would look like. I didn't know how, but I just knew I couldn't stay in the plot twist because it was destroying me. And eventually one day I got out of bed just like any other, struggled to get out of bed, looked in the mirror and went, who are you? You are a shadow of who you were and who you have the capability to be, and enough's enough. You got to start figuring this out. So I made myself 3 promises. One, I would never be dependent on anybody else for my income ever again. I would create multiple income streams to diversify my risk. And I actually think most accidental entrepreneurs are about diversifying their risk. People think you're crazy, but you're actually thinking, I'm prepared to bet on myself. That's actually less risky than betting on anybody else. So you're actually risk mitigating, even though you probably never thought of it that way. Second thing was I wasn't going to let my whole social circle be tied to my job. Because the moment your life implodes on your job front, you can suddenly be a pariah and nobody wants to talk to you. And it's really lonely while you're trying to figure out your own headspace. And you're like, yesterday I thought I was really capable and amazing. And today I think I have no friends. It's hard. So I knew I needed to diversify my network. And that's why networking plays such a big part of my business success strategy. The third thing that I promised myself was I was going to create boundaries for myself. Because when I was 20 and a vice president, building a company from 35 to 50 million, I worked 120 hours a week. I had no life. My business operated 24/7 and literally my phone would ring 24/7. I loved it at 28. I did not want it in my mid 40s. I didn't want it anymore. And so then I'm like, okay, I need to figure out what my boundaries are because I am about to be married. I'm about to be a stepmom overnight and a dog mom. And they're like, you need to be home at 5 o'clock for swim practice. And I'm like, I've never been home at 5 o'clock since I was 18. Like, I don't even know what that looks like. So there was all this weird dynamics. I'm like, I need to set the boundaries. And chances are your vision of your business is not to work 100 hours a week. I'm just betting that. You could say that's true, but I'm pretty betting that's not your vision. I'm also pretty sure your vision isn't to work yourself into the ground, which Tamron talks a lot about the burnout, for little to no money. So we need to really think about that's not the goal. Don't create the habits that lead to that goal. We need to create different habits for you to have a different outcome. And I'm going to be planting those habits with you today and encouraging you to implement them because business is not complicated if you focus on the right things. So there I was in my plot twist, knowing I had to start something. I got an email from LinkedIn from someone in my network in England who was not a friend of mine, but was a work colleague. I don't even think we really liked each other that much, which is so weird, but she had an opportunity and she reached out to me on LinkedIn and said, I think you're back in Canada. Super confused by why you're in cop cars and ambulances. I'm assuming you're not in trouble because we worked in the beauty industry. So again, two really unrelated industries. Manufacturing with cop cars and ambulances and beauty. You can reinvent yourself any way you like. So there I was. And she said, would you have a conversation with me? I want to talk about a business. And I'm like, well, I'm so fascinated that you would reach out to me. Sure. Like I've got nothing to lose. Let's have a conversation. And she talked to me about a beauty and wellness business. And Wednesday morning, when we had our conversation with the time zone being what it was, I was not planning to start a business. Whoever got up one day and thought, today's the day. Like it just wasn't. I'm like, I am getting married. I'm doing 10 things. I'd started a new job and getting a business started on Wednesday was so not on my agenda. But I was really curious about what she was saying. And curiosity is a really important word I'm going to hope you take away from today. But I was curious and I had a conversation with her and I had more questions. And the fact that I was asking more questions showed my curiosity. And every plot twist in my life, I will always get through it for curiosity. If I was ever looking to build somebody, a business partner, somebody I want to collaborate with, somebody I want to coach, I want them to be curious because I can't teach you that skill. If you have curiosity, you can get anywhere in life because you're always asking, what's around the corner? How does this work? Who can help me? And really having an open mind to unexpected plot twists. So I got out of bed on Friday thinking I would say no. Life was crazy. And then I looked at myself and every major decision in my life looks and happens in front of a bathroom mirror. It's my dad in my head. And I said, holy shit, sorry, language. I'm afraid to bet on myself. I've worked in 9 industries, lived in 5 countries, done a million things. And right now, the biggest questions in my life are, am I going to change my married to a married name? Do I want the kids to call me mom? And I had so much going on in my head that I was scared of myself. And I looked at myself and thought, to start this business would cost me less than what I paid for pizza the night before. So let's just keep this in perspective. I was hesitating to bet on myself for something that was less than $100. If I'd walked by a red handbag in the store, I would have bought it in a heartbeat and I wouldn't spend that money on myself. So I also want to plant a seed for you in your journey. Are you afraid to bet on yourself? I've spent money on degrees. I've spent money on fun holidays. This was me and my future, and I was scared to bet on myself. So in the heartbeat, I was like, oh, shit, you're not the girl who's scared of betting on herself. That's never been the card you play. So bet on yourself. This is about being a vehicle. You don't know what the vehicle is, but you will learn. And I was in. I didn't think about it. I sent the note to my friend. I'm in. Let's figure out what that looks like. And I don't know, I'm getting married in 3 months. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but there was no expectation because it was really my journey. Nobody else was going to say, did you show up for work? Nobody was going to, tap on my papers. No one was going to yell at me if I didn't do something, because this was me. And I thought that was more exciting for possibility than it was for being fearful. And that's an important message. So here, just going to wrap the story up, but I swanned into the kitchen while my husband, soon to be husband, was making coffee. And he says to me, I said to him, he's, oh yeah, what's going on? And I'm like, what's going on today? I'm like, well, I just started a business. And he goes, what? I'm like, yeah, so I decided to start this business. He's like, we're about to be married, right? Like, this is probably a conversation we should have. But honestly, I never considered that I should have a conversation with him. How weird is that? Like that single girl 101, right? Like, I just didn't occur to me that I should have consulted him, because it wasn't about him. It was about me. I wasn't needing his permission. And permission is one of my favorite words too. So curiosity, permission are going to be big words to take away today. And I just said to him, I'm doing this for me. I need something for me. I am lost in the transition of becoming wife, mother, all these other new labels. I am doing this for me. And he said, okay, then what does that mean for us? And I said, I will commit 1 hour a day to building this business. That's where I started. 1 hour a day. 1 hour a day to build my business. And I had my business double every single year. It's not about working yourself into the ground. It's about doing the right things. And when I built my first vision board, I started to get really caught up in my mind that I was doing this for the family. I was doing this to be able to go support my parents who were aging. My husband who has some health issues. I was in my head thinking it was for other people because it felt safer to think the business was about them. Until my husband, who I love dearly, called me on my own storyline. He said, look at that vision board. That's not us. That is the impact you want to create. So I am 100% supportive of you. I don't hold your vision, you hold it. And I have to remember that. So if you've got partners and spouses and people in your life, remember that your journey, this is your vision. They don't have to hold it for you. You may get their support, you may not. But I just had to say to him, I'm doing this for me. And me as a business coach today, one of the most important lessons I have and why I'm so passionate about doing it is I want you to succeed so you can create impact. And so you can say, I'm okay being seen and feeling seen, because we're going to change the world through that independence. Everyone has different visions of your business. How you will define success on the journey differs, but this is your journey. Do it for you, know it's possible. And now I'm going to jump into the training, which is how do you actually then go from hobby business to a thriving business? Because I think we think it's harder than it is. And I will tell you from my storyline, I hope you know that I know how to do it. And if you need some help, I can help you on the journey. But I want to start by myth busting. I know Tamron posted the link to this video, but I want you to pop in the chat. True or false? I'm going to ask you 3 questions because I think this is something that we need to get on the table right away. Where you are in your business, do you think that it will be hard work that is needed to get you to success? Type yes or no. Is it hard work? Yes or no? Hard work is an interesting one. So we've got a mix of bags, and that's good to see, because this is something that I think we get caught up in, and sometimes we believe it and sometimes we get rational. Because I will tell you that it will take effort. And so I want you to write down the word effort and circle it, because it is about effort and not hard work, and they're not the same thing. We have created this belief that hard work will equal success. And it sounds, I said, at first impression, yeah, that's logical. Hard work. People tell you, it doesn't come easy. You must work hard for it. And it's going to be hard. If you keep telling yourself it's going to be hard, guess what? It is hard. But hard work isn't the answer. And you know that, because if you look around your life, it probably doesn't have to cast your vision very far before you watch someone who's working incredibly hard, holding it together, white knuckling their way through life, and they are not having success. So hard work is not the answer. Okay. And so I want you to really start to rethink in your own storyline when you're going through your day. If you approach a problem thinking it's going to be hard, chances are it's going to be hard. And instead, I want you to think about, what about if I shifted it to, let's focus and put effort on the right things. And if I put effort on the right things and small things, it gets easier. And you need to be prepared for it to be easy. Because if you constantly think it's a struggle, you will always struggle. And that's a choice. I'm going to be really hard and honest, but that's a choice. So make a different one. You can just simply turn the page. So it's not hard work. It is effort that you want to focus on, because hard work in itself is not a guarantee for success. Second question for you is it simply an idea that you just need to do more of what you're doing now? So if you are working your business, it's more hours, if it's more clients, if it's more this, I want to know if more is the answer for you. I've got a plan, I'm in systems, I just need to ramp it to reach success. Is that where you're at with your business? It's kind of an option. Yes. So great to see some yeses, nos, and some in-betweens. That's not surprising to me, but it is an interesting one, because many of us think that the idea is more. It's not always more. More leads you to hustle culture. And there's so much, you see it all over the world of entrepreneurship. Hustle harder. It takes hustle to get to the top. Let's be hustlers together. I will tell you, hustlers lead you to feeling like you don't belong. Hustle culture leads you to overwhelm, to imposter syndrome, and likely to burn out on your journey. It's really dangerous to be thinking that hustle is the answer. And I honestly think in business, this is the way I approach strategy. In my business, it's the value ladder concept I teach and coach my clients. But actually, as your business grows, I want you to be working less hours. So if you're thinking more is the answer and I'm telling you to do less, you're probably going, say what? How? How do I do that? Because you kind of create is that really even possible? Is probably what you're thinking. She's a crazy lady from Canada. Maybe true, but that's okay. I'm willing to own that. It is about thinking about your value. The answer is not hustle. The answer is value. Okay, circle value. Because if you have higher value in the marketplace, what happens? Your rate goes up. And if your goal is about monetary gain, you can do more valuable things in less time. So more of something that's low value will lead you to exhaustion. On the opposite hand, if you focus on creating more value, you can really make an impact, but do less. Not necessarily less things, but less hard things, and focus on the right effort. So I want you to kind of be thinking about how do I create more value? Because the difference between getting paid a minimum wage job and getting paid to be a surgeon is about the value you create. What's the outcome your client needs? We're going to talk about that today, but the outcome is really, really important. Value is the conversation you need to have, not price. More of the same that is the wrong thing does not mean success for you. So shift the thought. It is about creating value, effort on the right things. My final question is that, what does success measure look like for you? Is it revenue and profit in your business? Is that how you will measure success as an entrepreneur? Because lots of people think, well, if I'm dabbling in my business, I don't have profit. Therefore, am I successful? Am I not successful? Because revenue and profit is an interesting one. That's often the way the world will judge you. But I will tell you, nobody's opinion will ever pay your bills. So be careful of the opinions you let take up space in your head. Right? Totally. Totally, Brent. So be careful with profit and revenue. Yes, if you are in a thriving business and not a hobby, you need revenue. Consistently is my key, but also you need profit, because there's no point working yourself really hard if at the end of the day you don't take home any for yourself. And most people don't understand all the things that go into stripping off revenue so that the net is actually smaller than you think. Because you think, wow, I just got this client and the project was, 500 Rand or 500 Rand per hour. It doesn't matter. How much of it do you get to keep is the question. But I will tell you this right now, if you are in your journey, and especially if you started as an accidental entrepreneur, revenue and profit are not the only measures of success. I want you to do a takeaway between now and next week. What is your measure of success? Every single day, when you look in the mirror, how do you sleep well at night? What is the goal or growth that you achieved in the journey? Because that's how you need to celebrate the journey. Because if you do the right things and you're celebrating taking uncomfortable action towards growth, simply doing that will lead to revenue and profit. But revenue and profit, for chasing revenue and profit, comes from a low energy place. It's not where clients want to work with you. It's not the vision they see. Nobody wants to feel sold to. But you need to be thinking to yourself, how will I define success? And to me, when I was in my plot twist, getting out of bed and having a shower was success. It wasn't me with Mach 10 with my hair on fire. And I needed to be okay with the fact today I got out of bed and went to coffee. Because that was really honestly such a big milestone for me. So I want you to think about for you, and this isn't the judgment of your parents, your spouse, your sister, your brother, whoever else knows you're on the journey. I want you to say, this is a win for me. Own it. And then in the mirror, when you're brushing your teeth, I want you to say, I'm proud of you for showing up. And for today, that was success. Because you want to create the habit of success for yourself. Not being caught up in the revenue and profit that somebody else is judging you on, and you are judging yourself on, because it can be dangerous. It's important, but not the only thing I want you to celebrate on your journey. Does that make sense? Okay, so I want you to be going into that. So I'm going to jump into now a bit of a screen share and talk to you a little bit about what it really takes to shift from hobby business to a thriving business. So what I see often in business is inconsistency. Like, hands up if you struggle with consistency. It's easy for everybody. Chances are it's not. And I will tell you, if you are struggling with inconsistency, welcome to the human experience. All of us. And I don't care whether you are, just starting your journey or whether you are Russell Branson, you struggle with consistency. The key is then asking yourself, how do I be more accountable? Because accountability is the key to shifting from hobby to a thriving business. And there's a continuum. And I like to think of it like this. There is free information everywhere, which has low accountability, because you can search for an answer on Google, get it, and do nothing with it because there's no accountability. Only you searched on Google. So that's the lowest level of movement. Second level might be, I might sign up for a course. Courses give you a start date, but they never really give you an end date. And truthfully, probably a good 85% of people sign up for a course and never complete it. So you have some level of knowledge, but if you don't complete it and implement it, which is why Tamron has an implementation session in her section, because she's going to help you curb this human failing. You could take a course, get some level of accountability, but you got to be a completer. You got to be somebody who finishes. Otherwise, you can move into the next thing, which is kind of a group program. And that might be a mastermind. That might be a group thing where there's some face-to-face time, like in the Business Builder community. Because if I see you every single week, chances are I see you, you see me. I have to do something. I have to contribute. I have to show up. I have to stay on screen. I have to be in the moment, which is a higher level of accountability. You will get more from it if you're in that kind of environment. But you need to know, are you the person who sits at the front of the row in a group or at the back of the row? Because if your tendency is to observe, you're going to struggle in a group, and you can get lost in group work because you let other people lead. And while they're leading, you're watching and observing, which is valuable 100%. But if you can't think on your own and use creative reasoning, you actually can't go do this and apply this for your own business. So be cautious if that's you. And you just need to be honest in that assessment. The final level of accountability, where it's that one-to-one, is that private training. That is the most intensive, is the most expensive, but it's also the one that moves you fastest because you can't hide. So think about accountability and where you are. Different parts of your business, different elements that you need to learn as you bridge this gap will require different levels of accountability. And I think a mix of them is good. I have had group programs, I've had private coaching, I have had courses, and I have looked up free information. So I am in all four camps. So take that hopefully as a bit of reassurance. It isn't about jumping to the very end of the scale. But here we are. Here's how you grow a business. There are 4 foundations you need to have. The first one is managing the 6 inches. That's the hardest 6 inches of business. And it's one that you do not solve once. You have to solve every single day. Second one is 4 ways to generate revenue. Most people get really confused by how you actually generate revenue, but you need to understand there's more than one way, and your business will grow to include all 4 of these over time. That's how you will work harder and not necessarily, or smarter rather than not necessarily harder. I want to talk about the 3 priorities you need to focus on to attract more clients. And I want to just remind you about selling is really simple, and you need to reframe it because you can't have a business without sales as part of it. So let's talk, before I jump into this, I'm going to jump back, the 4 inches. So these are limiting beliefs. These are the things that hold you back. You might recognize them. Procrastination, perfectionism, scarcity mindset, focusing on the wrong priorities, or simply going, I don't belong here. Drop in the chat if you have ever felt one of those things or more than one. So they are procrastination, scarcity mindset, the need to be perfect, the idea that I don't belong here, imposter syndrome. Drop it in the chat if you've ever felt those things. I love it. We do. All of us have these limiting beliefs, and we must manage them. And I tell you, this is an ongoing thing. That's why tribes are really important. Being part of community is really important. If I had taken action on 1/10 of the imaginary conversations I've had in my head, my business would be years ahead of where it is. But we don't. We struggle with the 6 inches. But I will tell you, the answer to every single one of these limiting beliefs is really simple. It's one thing for all 5 or 6 limiting beliefs. It's action. So you will never be perfect. Imperfect action taken today is going to quantum leap anything you can do perfect a month from now. This idea that if you have to have it all together, so you procrastinate, just take action, learn. If you take action and make a mistake, guess what? It's your own business. Nobody yells at you. So it's not like the corporate world where your risk is being fired. You just get up and try again tomorrow. Take the stress out of it, but you must get out of your head and into action. If you're worried about scarcity, thinking nobody will buy my product, nobody will pay the rates I want, I will tell you, do you see businesses that are successful that have a much higher rate than you? Yes, you do. So if it's possible for them, there's clients out there. There are 8 billion people on the planet. Chances are you need to just find the right clients. And you don't need 8 billion people to make a business. You need 1,000, you need 100. You don't need nearly the many you think you do, but they're out there. So you thinking they're not out there is a limiting belief when you know somebody else makes millions of dollars in the industry that you want to go play in. So it's there. If it's there for them, I want you to think about the possibility that it's there for you. If you want to think, I don't belong here, chances are you need to think, what are the habits of somebody who's successful? Emulate those habits. Thoughts, actions become habits. So what habits do you need to create so that helps you show up confident, show up learned, show up with a belief that you are capable to deliver the high value that your business delivers? But I will tell you, managing the 6 inches is the hardest thing we do. But the key to it is action. So every time you're hesitating with any of those things, I want you to go, what can I do? And then go do it. And there's a great book that I read called Atomic Habits. If you haven't read it, I would recommend it. It is one about if you can do something in 2 minutes or less, do it now. So if it's write the email. If it's phone the person and ask them to follow up about your client, phone them now. If it takes 2 minutes or less, don't wait till tomorrow. Don't put it on a to-do list. Just take immediate action. because action is what will create momentum. If I go back to the story I started with, I built my business an hour a day. It's not as much time as you think. If you intentionally say, I'm going to work hard on the right things, effort where it should be, can grow your business. So that's really important about the managing of your mindset. But I want to now shift between revenue, because this is a really important one. So hands up if you know that there are 4 ways to make money. This sometimes is new information, so feel free to screenshot this if you want. But there are 4 ways to make money. Many businesses might have 1 or 2 of these, but in order for you to have more revenue and profit in your business and not work simply more, you have to have all 4 of these. And so you might be building towards this. And I have a program that I'm going to briefly talk about today with you that will show you, I can help you figure these out. But there are 4 ways to build revenue, and it comes down to a value ladder, having different offerings with different levels of accountability for your client to reach the goal they're looking for. But the first one is, if you're in business already, is you have existing product to existing client. So this is where you might be selling something over and over again to the same people. They love it, they repeatedly buy it, they come back. It's a very easy transaction if you continue to deliver high value. If you do a really good job, chances are you might be getting some referral out of that. And they're recommending you to other people because they've had a great experience. That leads you into number 2, which is you can offer the same product to new clients. Referrals are gifts and golden. Make sure you tell people, thank people, and encourage referrals. It's such an important part of your business. But it gets harder. Effort is different as you move up the ladder. So the third one is you want to create a new product and serve it to existing clients. What happens here is we are thinking, once your client has been served, what happens next in their journey? Can you create a product for what happens next? That's a higher value. That keeps the relationship long-term. It adds additional revenue sources for you. So you're offering new product to somebody you've already sold to, which means you're creating additional offerings. And the final one, and this is the most effort in the ladder, is you want to create a brand new product to a brand new client. The reason that this is harder is you must build an audience for it, because one of the biggest mistakes I see businesses make is they focus on creating their service and they don't ever build an audience to sell it to. If you need 1,000 people to buy your product to reach your revenue goals and you know 100 people, there is a disconnect. So you need to build your audience, which will be something we're going to talk about next. But the value ladder is really important. And so I want you to pop into the chat here right now in your business. How many of these strategies are you currently using? Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 3? Or is it 4? And if it's not 4 yet, I want to just put it on your horizon that it is going to be 4 that you will work towards in order to have higher value with less hours in your business, which is, I said, the goal I'm always working with my clients to get to. That's awesome. Love to see that we've got people with 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there's opportunity in the room. You can take a note of who's already working on multiple areas. They're a good person to go have a coffee with, network with each other, figure out how and what you're doing in business so you don't have to reinvent the wheel yourself. Okay. So you're wondering now, okay, I get it. I've got strategies to build revenue. How do I actually find clients? So is finding clients hard for you, or is it an easy thing? Most people, it's incredibly hard, but it doesn't need to be. These are the 3 things that I say are non-negotiables in your business. So when I built my business an hour a day, I focused 50 to 70% of my time on these 3 things. And I will tell you, if you want to avoid this peak and valley in your business where you have high service delivery and then crickets, and then high service delivery and crickets, which is super stressful because your expenses don't live in that roller coaster. You need to always be building your audience. And that's what these 3 priorities do. So I said to myself, and I say to my clients, 50 to 70% of your day, be intentional with this strategy. But priority number 1 is you must get in front of more people, more ways, more often. Just remember, the people who buy from you were strangers. How many strangers are you meeting? And I mean that not in a creepy way, but how many strangers are you meeting? You must be intentional about always expanding your audience, always expanding your network. Be visible. And I think it's really important. You're thinking about visibility here. I'm not saying go into social media and post and vomit your business saying, hey, I've got cool stuff, come buy it. Please stop doing that if you are. It's not helping your brand. It's not helping you win clients, and it risks your reputation. What I want you to think about when you are in social media or when you are networking with other people, I want you to be thinking you are doing one of two things. Remember the plot twist. Somebody's in darkness, turn on the light. That's value, not solution. That's value. So turn the light on for them. Give them a tip, give them some perspective, give them a resource, let them know you've done something. Maybe they want to have a conversation and you can share it with them, but tread lightly by turning on a light bulb. Second thing you want to do is think of yourself as footprints in the sand. You want to leave clues in value that somebody can follow. Because if you simply offer value and they were interested and you created curiosity, there's my favorite word, curiosity, they'll come find you. Wouldn't it be nice if clients came found you instead of you trying to find them? Think of your number one priority of building your audience as turning on the light and leaving footprints in the sand for somebody to follow. That's how you will build consistent client growth, not by saying to them before they're ready, I have something you need to buy. And we are too impatient to do that. And I will tell you, it's dangerous and it's exhausting and it doesn't really work. So be the light, leave footprints in the sand. Priority number 2 is you got to figure out your so what factors. I have an entire course that focuses for 4 weeks on this specific building block. It's something I would encourage you to take a look at. But the so what factors are really important. There are 3 of them. Number 1 is, why are you in business? You made the decision to be one of the crazy ones. Why? What are you hoping to make? And it isn't revenue and profit. As I asked you to define success for yourself. What's the impact you want to create? Telling people about the impact you want to create is a reason for them to want to know more of you. So your why is really important. And your why isn't superficial. It isn't a certain money. It isn't a house in a certain place. It is the emotion behind it. So get in touch with your emotion. The second piece of it is, what is the problem you solve? This is gold and money, so please write that down, because I will tell you 95% of the people I encounter in business do not know the answer to this. What is the problem you solve? Not the solution you offer, and not the first top line problem, but the deeper problem. I'll give you an example. People tell me, I had a client that came to me and said, my solution is skincare, and the problem is bad skin. I said, the problem is not bad skin. Bad skin is a consequence to the problem. That's not the problem. The problem isn't bad skin. If you're telling people you have bad skin, I have skincare, chances are you're really struggling for clients. Is that true? She said, yes, it's true. But the problem is bad skin, Christine. I said, no, the problem isn't bad skin. What does bad skin cost a man or a woman? Confidence. If you don't have great skin, you get passed over for jobs. It's true, it still happens. You might not show up and get dates in relationships. You might hesitate to jump on a screen and meet new people, and you feel embarrassed and not capable and confident when you walk and make a first impression, which means you can't actually achieve number 1. So I said, if you want to talk about the problem as confidence, you have my full attention to introduce skincare, because I know right now I want to be confident in the skin I'm in. I don't need it to be wrinkle-free and perfect, but I want it to be something I am okay getting on a screen and making a first impression. So ask yourself, what is the problem you solve? If you can get really clear about the problem, you will stand out from the sea of sameness and your business will exponentially grow. The third so what is actually, why are you the right guide? Remember, you're not the solution. You're the guide for your client to have a transformation. So why you? And you must choose you first, because you know the problem you can solve, and you can take somebody on a hero's journey, take them in the plot twist through into the light. That's why I'm suggesting you plant the seed of being a light and think about footprints in the sand, because that's going to be the key for you. But if you can talk about these 3 so what factors when you're networking, when you're meeting new clients, when you're meeting people in the grocery store, I will tell you, you create enough curiosity, they will come find you. And there's nothing more compelling than clarity. Because clarity, when somebody sees you, the reason they buy services from you is not really for your service. It's for your clarity and the confidence that they can borrow until they have their own. So rethink that. Final priority number 3 is the conversations is the number 1 focus of everything you do. It's not sales. Okay. Conversations and relationship is what will build your business. And I always say to any new client who wants to work with me, show me your calendar. How many new conversations are you getting into every single week with new people and with people you've already had a conversation with once before? Your goal is to focus on value as perceived by the client about the problem that they have. You want to engage, nurture, focus on engaging them, because every time that you deliver value and you get a head nod or an interaction or some kind of acknowledgement, you're moving somebody in movement. Every movement you create is forming a habit. I tell you, what is success? Success is about the right habits and effort on the right things. If somebody repeatedly says yes to you with the content and high value you're creating, they are going to do one of 2 things. They're going to show up in your door one day really unexpectedly because you don't know who they are, because they may, you're not really seen the yet connection for them. And they're going to say, what is it like to work with you? Okay, that's a sales conversation that is a guarantee yes. Second thing that they're going to do is say, tell me more. When somebody says, tell me more, it's a really open invitation to show your brilliance, but you don't need to show everything on the first date. So think of the dating analogy. Your goal here is first date, second date, third date, 5th date, 10th date. How many dates did you have with your spouse before you got married? Some of your clients will need that same number. So don't be so quick to say you've had 1 date. Here's my price. Here's my product. Come buy it. It's too early. You're going to see much higher conversion if you show that. And remember, when you're out meeting people for the first time, they might not know they have a problem. They might not be your client, but they have a whole network that you are tapping into. And if you can show consistent value, they're going to be, I know this amazing person. And when you are vouched for, it's the most compelling opportunity you have. So these are the 3 priorities I focus on every day, 50 to 70% of the time. This is actually how you build consistent client growth. You must build your audience before you ever sell. So the next thing I want to take you through is, and this is that sales process. I'm going to jump back before I do that. I want to talk about sales. So hands up or drop it in the chat if you feel icky about sales. You hate it. It's not your favorite thing to do. You don't know when the right moment is to ask. You are super confused about what you do, how you do it. I love it. Okay, we have this huge perspective that we hate sales. And I will tell you, in order to have a thriving business, you need to get really good at this. And that's a whole nother conversation. I can definitely help you do that because I've been selling my whole life. But I want to shift your thinking, because you're thinking when you're selling, it's about me. It's not. I want you to reframe it. If you know that what you offer is valuable, and you know that somebody has a problem, and you not making a sales offer means they never have a solution to the problem they have, are you okay with leaving them in the dark when you can hear them screaming? Chances aren't very good. If you're a human being, you don't want to leave somebody in the dark screaming when you know you can help. So you need to remember that service is what you're here for, and selling is service. I only make an offer when I know I have a way to help somebody with a problem out of the darkness. And if I don't make them that offer, I'm actually giving them a disservice, because I'm leaving them in the dark, scared, screaming, when I know I can bridge the gap for them. So I want you to rethink from today forward that sales is not about selling. It's not about you selling. It's about you serving a problem where you have 100% certainty you're the right guide to help them out. And by knowing that, you 100% need to make an offer. And if you've done a really great job with conversation, and you've done a really great job with offering value, when you get into the conversation with them, guess what happens? They say to you, can you tell me? Because I really need some help. And you're really at the point where you're saying, okay, well, there's 2 options. You might have had a value ladder. Some of you had 4 different ways you're serving. Some of you had 2, some of you had 1. You're going to come to them saying, well, working with me looks like this, option A and option B. You never give more than 2 options, even if you had 100 different services. Why? A confused mind will never buy. And you already know that most of your service offerings aren't relevant to them because you know where they are in their journey. So you've said to them, you see value, correct? Yes, I see value. Option A and option B are going to help you get where you want to get to. Which one feels like the right one for you? You let your client choose. You say, great, I am 100% you behind you on option B that you chose or option A that you chose. It looks like this. Here's the next steps. A sales conversation is less than a half hour. It's not days, it's not weeks. Don't live in this idea that it has to be perfect. It's a short conversation because by the time you have it, they're already sure there's value. You're already sure you're the right guide. You've offered them 2 options and they've chosen one of 2. And you say, here's the next steps. I will follow up and we'll make that happen. Does that demystify it, make it way less scary? Think of it as service, because service really is what you're here for. I asked you, why are you in business? It's one of the so whats. You're not here to take revenue, you're here to make impact. So every time that you have a transaction, you're delivering transformation. And guess what happens when you make transformation? You make the impact that you were striving for and why you're in business. It's so important that you focus on, it's about them. It isn't about me at all. How can I help you? How can I serve you? And so my tip is this, my final thought before I'm going to just share with you what program might be relevant for you if you want to take a look at it. And what I do offer the business builder community is I never look for clients, ever. I look for 3 things. I look for people I can support. And that's not meaning sell my services. I just mean, how do I support you? Second thing, I look for problems I can help with and ways I can serve. And that's my success measure. Did I do that at the end of every day? And if I did that with enough people that are new people in priority number 1, and I got into conversations where I focused on ways to serve, problems to solve, and ways I can support, business comes to me consistently. I'm not struggling. This isn't hard. I focused on the right efforts. I'm still building my business. Today, I spend probably 30 minutes nurturing social media a day. I don't spend all day there. I also don't spend all day in service delivery. I spend time getting into conversation like we're doing this morning, because that is what will ultimately grow my business. And so I want you to just see it in living proof, get the concepts to come to life. And I want to just show you in the final thing, and then we're going to open it up to questions, is what kind of programs I offer. So as a business coach, I work with a couple of different things. I have full courses that you can do, that you can watch and listen, because that's, again, one level of accountability. I also offer group programs where, again, you can take advantage of it. There's 2 that I want to talk about. The one is a 4-week program. It really goes down to the 3 priorities of spending time. It's actually building your value ladder. It's getting clear on the problem you solve. It's getting focused on how can you actually get in front of more people. It's 4 weeks of doing this so that at the end of 4 weeks, you can come out of it going, I now am confident when I'm out on my road and I can just feel the rhythm starting to build, no matter how much time you focus, 30 minutes, 1 hour, or more than that. The other thing I do is I take people through the entire business foundations over a 6-month period. Those are programs that I do that I said that mid-level, I call it medium level of accountability. The other thing I do is one-to-one coaching, which is move the needle quickly. Where are you? What do we need to focus on? Let's get you there. As a business success coach, my business is about value. Something I've talked about. I live it every day. And I say to people, what value do they need? Firefighting, foundations, mentorship. So for me, I coach, of course, that's accountability and vision casting, but I also really work on the strategy. I'm going to help you build the value ladder. I'm going to help you get clear on where your revenue is. And as you grow and scale and mentor, that's what you're able to deliver. Okay. Those are the programs that I offer, but I want to give you the freebies. Okay. So Tamron, you're welcome to bring it back to gallery view. But one thing that I am offering with our community here is a couple of workshops. So I run workshops every month. They're free. Okay. So this isn't me saying spend some money. I run a couple of workshops every single month. I alternate them. The first one is presenting with passion and confidence. It isn't about the nuts and bolts necessarily of presenting, although we do recap that. What focus is how do you use storytelling to stand out from the sea of sameness? Because storytelling, the plot twist journey I took you on today, is what will create curiosity, and curiosity creates movement. Movement creates habits. Habits lead to you being confident. Your value is there. You can serve at the highest level, and you have an opportunity to transform somebody's life and make an impact. So that's a workshop that you're welcome to come and register for. I will drop a link into the chat to see where my events are in a second. But that's number one. The other one that I run in alternate is about how to network more effectively. And this is about, again, same thing of storytelling. The goal of meeting strangers is to get into conversation with them so that you build relationships. But if you simply show up in a business setting and say, hey, my name is Christine Campbell-Rappin, I'm a business success coach, yada, 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 I'm amazing, come buy my stuff. None of you want to meet with me. And then you went to a whole meeting for an hour and you didn't have a result. If you do that every single day, will success happen for you? Or will that just be more hard work does not equal success? Chances are the latter. So what can you do when you're networking to create curiosity? How can you drop me into a plot twist where you've immediately caught my attention? So I want to have a conversation with you. Conversation will lead to a point in time where someone says, I'm really interested, tell me more. That's gold. That's what you're looking for. So I run a workshop. It's another one of the free ones I run. I alternate it with the presenting workshop to help you be more effective when you're speaking. Because speaking is the fastest way to cash in your business. It doesn't matter whether it's a one-to-one that you're doing or you plan to use speaking as a stage. You must be able to tell your story. You must be able to articulate your so whats, and you must go make some friends with strangers. That's going to be vital. The other thing that I wanted to say, because you're going to have those free access to those programs, but if you ever decide today down the road and you want to work with me and you are a member of Tamron's community, any group program you get, you will get a one-to-one coaching session with me. It's a bonus for your membership so that you can take the stuff that we've talked about and implement it. It's not theory. How did I say get away from the managing 6 inches? Don't live in theory. Do it. Take action. And for me, I know I always say to people, I'm in chapter 10 in my business. I help everybody in chapters 1 through 9. By the time they get to chapter 10, I'll probably be in chapter 15. You need to only be one step ahead of your client. I think we need to be light years ahead of them. It's actually more dangerous to be light years ahead of your client. Anybody know why? Come off mute.
I would guess it's because you're going to forget what it's like to be there, and you're going to miss steps because you don't remember what they're facing at that time.
100%. You get so far ahead that the two things happen. You either intimidate them into inaction. And I know I've had lots of people say to me, I'm so intimidated by you. And I'm like, really? And that's something I need to check. And I said, I am a hot mess. If you belong to a community, I also run a community. We can pop the link in there. It's free. It's something I run in my community. I said, this is me living my business. I want you to see the journey. I am a relatable human being. That's really important. If you are so far away that you forget the language, the fear, the uncertainty, and you can't talk about the problem, you run the risk of just focusing on the solution. And nobody cares about your solution. Honestly, this is the hardest knock in business, but I will tell you, nobody cares about your solution. Nobody wants to hear you talk about your solution. Totally counterintuitive. Why? Nobody cares what you have to say until you tell them why they have to care. They have to see the transformation. They have to go, you see me. They have to be able to connect to your footprint in the sand and saying, she's been there. He's been there. They're the right guide. I'm really scared. They relate to me. And if you get so far ahead of them in the journey, you can't connect anymore. They might watch, they might take your programs, but they won't implement it, and you will not have a success story. What you could have is an open viral rant that you didn't deliver, which you did not want. So you do always want to remember, and I said, while you're in your early stages of journey and while you're working with your clients, journal a lot. I recommend this a lot to my clients. Tell me what it's like where you are. What are the hesitations? If you're outsourcing for the first time, what were your hesitations? Your client is feeling them too. Be human. Don't talk at them. Show the problem and the light, and they will ask you to show me how. And that's where the magic is. It is not the how first. People go and do business with you because they need to borrow your certainty. You need to say, I was there. I came through it. I can help you. But remember, it's about them. Nobody cares about your solution until they go, oh, your solution relates to my problem. And when they get tired, and only when they get tired of their own darkness, will they move. So you can't talk to them if they're not ready to move yet. But you can be the footprints in the sand. So when they come slightly out of the light and into the light, they're going to go, oh, there's somebody there. Maybe I can follow those footprints. But their journey, you don't control the when. That's why you always need to meet strangers, so that you have a consistent flow of clients. Because you never know when they're ready to say, I'm done. It's worth it. I'm prepared to bet on myself. I'm not hesitating anymore. Because the things that you give your business and you give your clients is impact. I'm going to help you do something for your life. A little bit of money is worth that. Or is it transactional? If your business is only transactional right now, I want to look at the value ladder. How do you create more value so you're not a transaction? Because creating more value means nobody price shops your business. And wow, isn't that amazing? All right, I'm going to open it up to the floor. That's what I wanted to share with you. This is the strategy I've used from going from being in the hokey pokey, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, 1 foot in, 1 foot out of my business. You might know what that looks like, to actually how do you run a thriving business where I'm not working 100 hours a week. I'm not working for little to no profit. I have no problem having a sales conversation because I remember what's my problem I solve. My problem is businesses who want to make an impact and are caught in the how. The how is not the problem, because I know I can teach you the how. The problem is you saying, I need to step into the light. Well, I'm the beacon. And when I think about what I do in my business, I'm the catalyst to get you into the light. And then I will amplify it around the global stage for you. Because hello, I'm here. We're in a global business. So questions, thoughts?
I just want to say thank
spinning.
you, Christine. That was amazing. Sorry, my lighting is being weird again, but thank you so much. That was so cool. I've put links in the chat for Christine. You can get her free events and her Facebook group and connect with her on LinkedIn. I do recommend doing all three. You can also find these links in the member portal. So if for any reason you don't click on them or you lose them or you're worried, just go into the member portal, look for Christine. You'll find her company info, her connection info, the free resources, the special offer she mentioned. It's all there. So go poke around. But I would encourage you to take the opportunity right now to ask questions.
About anything. Where are you stuck? Hawk Speak coaching. What's the thing that you are scared to say out loud? Say it. It's a very safe space to do it right now. You're very welcome, Megan. I will tell you, it's not always smooth sailing. I always think the best analogy for an entrepreneur is like to think of yourself like a swan. So that you're serene, gliding on a pond. On the outside, everything looks calm, cool, and collected. But I will tell you, under the surface, the feet are paddling hard. It's 100% normal to be nervous, to have the imposter syndrome, to wonder if you're ever going to get there. But I said, the biggest thing to consistency, my tip, I said, is think about your accountability. This community is an amazing place because every week you're going to get new knowledge, and then there's going to be an implementation that's going to help you with your accountability. And you don't learn until you do something 100 times. Mastery isn't achieved by watching. It isn't achieved by doing anything but being messy in the middle. But the great thing about entrepreneurship is, honestly, even in a bad day, you're not going to get fired because you own your own life. And having been fired, that was always the concern. It's like the thing that goes into your head. But you have bad days. But tomorrow you go, I want to make the impact. I try again. Because the world needs you. It really does. Honestly, I am so lit up by that. The world needs what you have to offer. And you wouldn't have the calling if you weren't capable. And you can build the capabilities so that you have the confidence. Because confidence is everything. And it's an acquired skill. I was the terrified kid hiding behind my mother's legs who didn't want to go make friends in the playground. Every time I moved, I hated it. Now I'm like, let's go be friends. I'm a stranger. freaks my husband out a little bit when I do that, but he's a farmer. So he's also the book first guy who wants to talk to everybody in the lineup. I'm like, stop talking to people. He's like, you're the one who meets people all over the world on Zoom every single day. I'm like, yeah, it's totally different.
It's totally different.
I just wanted to say that your enthusiasm is fantastic, really. And you're like energy bubbling over. We at the end of our day, yes, we're probably a bit more tired and quiet, but you're very inspirational, and you gave me personally a lot of food for thought. So I'll definitely be speaking to you.
Thank you. I'm glad, and it's interesting. The thing I would say, this is a great tip. So it's remember your energy is everything. It isn't about having the answers. It's about, are you the right guide? People will choose you first before they want to know about your business. So we get really caught up in the business and the product. I'm like, show up animated. If you have talked, I've told my stories hundreds and hundreds of times, but you're hearing it for the first time. I need to remember you're hearing it for the first time. I need to show up energetically, that you connect to my energy way before you ever want to know about my business. You need to be intentional with that. It's a great tip. Because I cannot tell you how many times I go to a networking meeting and people are like, so my business is this, I'm a mortgage broker, I need you to send me clients. Who are these 3 people? Like, they are so bored. And I've heard the same thing 100 times. I'm like, please come to my course. It's free. I need you to do something different. But if you are bored by your business and you don't intentionally put your energy out there, especially if they're not someone you're meeting face to face, you have to amp it up. Because it is the thing that people say about me all the time, it's your energy. And I'm like, I am intentional about this, but I'm also an energetic bunny because I'm an introvert. And I know you don't believe this, but then I'll go sit and not talk to anybody for an hour because I need the balance. But it's really important. So ask yourself, when you show up in a meeting, how are you showing up? Are you showing up with your best energy, fully lit up? Because your energy is leaving the impression that you might not even be aware you've left.
So what's your top 3? Sorry, girls, I'm just going to jump in here, but just make me quiet. What's your top 3 tips for getting that positive energy when you've got one of those days where everything's just going wrong?
I think number 1 is, you have to go back to, what is your why? What is your vision? Because I will tell you that business is not convenient. So if you are waiting for motivation and you're waiting for it to be convenient, you're not committed to be all in your business. So that's my first tip is, be committed to your vision and know what it is, because you have to have the commitment that moves you through the inconvenience. And I need, so for me, it's always going back to, I'm about to jump on screen. I need to light it up for whatever time I have, 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. I need to light it up because I am leaving footprints in the sand. What kind of footprints do I want to lead? And show up in that moment. And if I'm honestly not able to do it, I will just energetically say to somebody, fake it if I need to. Like, I dance, I'm like Megan, I would dance around my living room, put on my favorite song, get back in the moment. But I need to remind myself, what's the impact I want to create? It will always recharge me because I'm very clear on what it is. Number 2, it's use the tools of, I'm here to serve at the highest level. Whatever internal dialogue is dumping on my brain, that's my story. They don't care about my story. What do they need to take away from me today? So if I shift in service to somebody else, the natural energy also comes, because we are here as human beings to serve others. We're connected by community for that reason. And the third thing I remember is, you don't know where your ripples are, but I'm driven to create the ripple. So light it up. And I will tell you, I'm also candid to my community, depending on what kind of business you have. So I'm obviously a business success coach. I love to say that it's endlessly easy. It's not easy, but you need to be prepared that there are moments it's easy. I mean, I've walked into conversations to be a guest on a podcast and had ended with a client. Very unexpected. But I can turn that moment really quickly. I'm like, okay, we're having that conversation because I was invited into it. At the same time, I've had clients that back out. I have gone into events where I'm like, I feel energetically this isn't the right fit for me. I have to exit, but I just hold my exit because I clearly go back to my vision. And, there's days that, well, today's rough. There's family dynamics going on. And I tell my community, today was really tough. But the interesting thing is, whenever it's tough, the universe hears it. And if I believe in toughness, then it provides me more toughness. But when I had the hardest day, and I was talking about in my community, and I was done, I'm like, a bottle of wine and a bath is really high on my agenda. My husband's like, whoa, what's just ever happened in your office today? But like, I don't want it to ruin our weekend. And that's not fair for him, true. And I have to be remembering, that's why I like a place I can close the door. And I'm like, and then there was a ding in my computer, and I'm like, oh God, really? I don't know if I would want to look at another email because it's just been a shit show all day. And I'm energetically stuck in the spiral, and I know that. And I know I have these tools to say, don't let 10 minutes ruin a whole day. And I remind myself of that. I have Post-it notes and permission slips all over my desk to pull myself out of my own strop. And then I get an email from somebody on LinkedIn. It's like, I'm just starting a new business. We don't know each other, but I follow what you do. And I don't have money to pay for your services, but I wanted to let you know you've been incredibly valuable on my journey. And one day when I have the money, I really want to work together. And I'm like, that's why I do this. And I was glad I looked at the email, and I went back and said, you're right, I'm done. I'm not looking at my phone for the next 24 hours because I know that I'm called to serve at the highest level. And if I just focus on that, it calls to my heart. It's not hard to be energetic. And you got to know your why. That's why the why is so important. And it's interesting. I know many of us, we know each other from the Explore Pro Tech Network. And I remember we had a conversation at one of our Gossens. And by the way, Gossen is Tuesday next week. Make sure you're there. The question was, what's your why? How clear are you on your why? 8 out of 10, most people said 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. Most people think they know their why. Next breakout room was, tell me where you're going to be in 5 years. And people didn't have real good clarity on where they're going to be in 5 years, which means to me, you don't know your why. Because you can tell me, where will I be in 5 years? I'm like, the custom home overlooks the lake. I walk in, kitchen's to the right, dog is sleeping by the fireplace. Down the hall, I have a view with the window. I could put myself in there because I see it every single day. My vision is crystal clear. If your vision isn't crystal clear, let's do some why. You need to dig it because it will pull you. Effortlessly pull you. And you can hit
Thank you.
off.
That was very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Up the link for those of you who are not in Explore Project. You can join the Global Online Speed Networking event next Tuesday. I think 3 of you have been my guests before, but do come through again. This one is really exciting because we're actually mixing with another networking group, so it's going to be even bigger than normal, and it's international, and you're going to get a chance to meet some really awesome people. So if you can, click on the link, come and join us. It'll be amazing.
And remember, that's your number one priority. Get in front of more people, more ways, more often.
There you go. Have more conversations on Tuesday evening.
It's like the master plan is coming together.
That actually leads me to my question, Christine. Before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you for your tips on how you approach strangers. So, you want to start conversations with these people on LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever you're hanging out. How do you actually approach strangers and start that conversation that's just a chat?
Yeah, well, the first thing is just remember it is a first conversation. Okay, so that's my first tip. So it doesn't have to be heavy and hard. I would say, when I spend time intentionally looking for strangers, I'm looking for people that are connected to people I know. I might be looking at what their content is. I might add value. You got to remember, what's the biggest thing we're looking for in social media is expanded visibility. Okay, that's just putting yourself in front of more people. So instead of just liking a comment, add something valuable. What did you take away from it? What question will you add? If you can add value to somebody else's content, you become interesting. You've created curiosity. If you can do this a couple of times, it's not weird when you say, I read your article. This is what I really took away. I have a question. Can I and ask it? It's that simple. And just remember, it's not nobody likes the, hi, it looks like you're in this business. I have a solution. Please don't do that. There's nothing more irritating. And trust me, I'm a coach. So 9 times out of 10 people keep saying to me, you must be failing. I'm like, could you stop assuming my business is failing, please? It's really rude. But they do. Coaches need help because it's true. There's lots of coaches that are not successful. I'm successful because I'm good at my business, but it's funny. So don't assume people are failing. I have a first tip of meeting strangers and compliment them. If they've given you an insight in an article, ask a perspective of saying, I've got a situation. Would you share your opinion? Hello, who doesn't want to share their opinion? but start the conversation. I would say if I was in LinkedIn, which is the place I play a lot, it's a business networking, many of you should be there. If you're not, make sure you are, but it's engage with their content. If you've engaged with their content 2 or 3 times and you follow them and then you reach out to them saying, I've really found your content valuable. Thanks for this insight. This is what I took away from it. Chances are they're going to accept your invite and you can continue to support their network. And then after a couple of conversations, you're on their radar. They know who you are. It's not weird to say, I think it'd be fun to have a 30-minute conversation. Don't make it an hour, make it a short conversation and saying, I'd like to know a little bit more about your business. Serve value. Have a next step. You want to be thinking next step always, next step for your client, next step for the conversation, next step for the network, whatever you're doing, always be thinking about the continuation of this. And then if you say, what would be valuable for you? Like I said to you, I never look for clients. I look for people I can serve, people I can connect. So I was saying, if you're in that industry, I know somebody, let me volunteer to connect you right away. I'm connecting you to a resource. I'm not connecting you to my service. Mm. And you're going, oh, that's really amazing. She's really generous. I'm generous because it's good business and I like to do it. Because I'm not presenting you an offer in my business until I'm sure I know your problem. We both agree I can help you. And you've made the decision that I'm the right guide. So I'm just offering value. Can I connect you? Here's a resource that might be interesting. You told me you were this. I've noted that your topics are about this pain point. I know somebody who does this. Would you like to go to their event? And I'm also supporting somebody else's event, which makes me a good referral partner.
You're supporting someone else's event right now. I'm loving it.
Well, and that's it. That's how you build your reputation. I always think about brand and brand story. And I never realized I was so much in the marketing space until my clients kept telling me I actually hired you for marketing. I'm like, really? How weird. Okay. I never see it that way, but it's just integral to what I do. And I'm like, what's your brand story? It's not your font, it's not your logo, it's your integrity. Show up, give value, serve. And they're going to start to want to know. And then you say, we've been kind of around each other's block for a while. I'd love to know more about your business. Are you open to a 30-minute business where you can tell me a little bit more detail? Because maybe I have somebody who needs what you have. Might be me. Chances are there's somebody I know. And most people will reciprocate that. But you don't have to ask for it. But also remember, you're dating. If it's not the right fit, don't spend the same time. But recognize not everyone makes an amazing first impression. And if they don't make a first impression, you might be saying to them, you should know about Christine. She runs a workshop about first impressions. You should go talk to her. Because we think we are. One of the biggest things is we don't know how we show up. Because we don't see our own light. Like I said that at the very beginning. I never saw myself as somebody in marketing. And people tell me all the time, that's why I want to go work with you. I'm like, how weird. And I didn't think that business was complicated. And people kept saying, what are you doing 1 hour a day that makes your business grow every week? I'm like, well, I treat it like a business. And people kept saying, everybody says that, but I don't actually know what that means. And apparently you really know what it means because I know you're succeeding and I see it. It's not because you're boastful, but there's a confidence about what you're doing. And the fact you're still in the game is evident because you've been in it for a while and I still see you talking about it. And that's actually how I became a coach. Somebody asked me, can you actually tell me what that is? I'm like, sure. And then somebody said, well, could you run a workshop? We'd pay you for it. And I was like, light bulb. Wow, somebody would pay me for that? Because I didn't see it as valuable. And then when you work with somebody and you start to think what happens next with them, that might be the way you expand your service offering. I never thought I'd be talking about presenting skills. And people kept saying to me, you're great at it. Could you teach me that? I'm like, oh, sure. I didn't think I needed to do that, but they lead you to where the revenue is. They lead you to where the impact is. But you only learn that through conversation and being humble enough to say, ask the question, why did you choose me? It's one of the very first things when somebody does say to me, I want to work with you. I always ask, why did you choose me? It's really easy to ask it in the beginning. And then they're like, oh, because you're able to, you still have, you have a corporate job, you're running a business, you have a family life, and you seem to be not completely crazy. Like some level of crazy, my level of crazy, but not completely crazy. How are you doing it? Oh, because again, they're borrowing your certainty, not your solution. They're believing she's got something that I can learn from. Why do people pay for any business? Speed and less effort. Why do they come to an accountant? Why do they come to a book writer? Why do they come to an animator? Speed and less money, less effort. So if you can create high value, people will pay you big sums of money. because you're going to be less effort, less mistakes, shorter timeline, bigger impact. I would pay for that every day, 7 days a week. And when I first bet on my business, I will tell you this, when I first bet on my business, I still say this as an affirmation every single day: I will not panic when my expenses exceed my revenue. I will not panic when my expenses exceed my revenue. Why? Because I believe in my vision. I know I can create impact. And if I keep doing the right things, my business will be exponentially worth the expenses I'm paying now, if I hire the right people to help me get there. And I look for people that are complimentary to me. Like, I don't need you to tell me I'm a good girl and pat me on the head. I need you to call me on my stuff saying, you're not good with systems. You can't take this to the next level if you keep the systems the way they have them now. And I'm like, you're right, I can't. Because I don't want to spend more hours. I want to do bigger impact for less hours. So I had to bring somebody into my network that would help me do that. And she's got full pass to call me on my stuff when I'm spinning. And she's like, why are you spinning? I'm like, I don't know. Some reason I'm in my head about this. She's like, get out of your head, get out of your own way. And she has a stop it button. I know the Explore Pro Tech have seen it. And it's a button, it says stop it. I push it and it says stop it. You're amazing. You've totally got this. And it's my coach's voice in it. And so when I'm in my cycle, I have to push the stop it button and just remind myself and go back to my vision board and go back to, it's not perfect. And if I've done something scary for the first time, I also get up and go dance it out afterwards. And just, go, ooh, that was awful. But I know it will get better the next time I do it. And there's always got to be a network of people that you can go and just fall apart to. Or my rule is always, we're a tribe, everyone can fall apart, just not everybody on the same day. So you show up and like, today's my day. I'm a hot mess. I'm completely in my head. And I did this with my network. I'll just tell you the story. And I know we're long on time, but I'll tell you the story. So I went to a networking event. I was doing a summit for the first time. I mean, I've spoken on tons of stages. The speaking bit isn't freaking me out. But the fact that I've committed, I paid to be a speaker, there's a refundable deposit, but I have to get people there. And I was like, I don't know 25 people. This person's like, what? Like, honestly, I can't get 25 people to get to this event. And I'm completely freaked out about this. You need to register even if you don't come. And I was like, I can't believe I'm begging. I could hear myself. I hear my crazy. But this person who had been watching from the sidelines, he's like, I'm intimidated by you. I'm like, I'm a hot mess. Please, can you register? I would be great. Like, you don't need to stay. Can you show up for the first 2 minutes and just like help me get over myself? And then you can leave. Like, I'm sure you don't really care what I'm doing, but like, I was all over it. They're like, it's so nice to see you completely freaking out. I'm like, thanks. But I got my numbers in the end and then realized if I offer value, people will show up. Because it's really not about me. But I was a hot mess about it. Megan might know because she was part of that. And I'm like, no, guys, I need you to go. They're like, it's a weird time. So I'm like, don't care, just register. I had quite a few faces in the crowd and I really appreciated it because I was in a hot mess. But then the funny thing was that was Tuesday. On Friday, I got a phone call at 4:30 in the afternoon, just at the end of the day, where I was not going to take any more phone calls. And they're like, could you speak on Monday? We have a speaker cancel. And I'm like, I can do this. Sure. Let me clear my calendar. I didn't think about the how. I just thought, is this opportunity? Say yes to the opportunity and figure the how out later. And I took advantage of it and had another opportunity. But that comes from being in momentum. And I was completely freaked out, but I was easier the second time. It gets easier every time you do it.
Thank you so much, Christine. I was so much value in tonight's session, really, well, this morning for you. Thank you so much for showing up early, because I know it is pretty early for you there. I really appreciate it. I'm sure everyone here appreciates it. And we really look forward to seeing you again next week at our implementation forum. So everyone who is attending, please remember, come back next Thursday to hear about the challenges and hurdles of implementation. Come share with us where you've gotten stuck from my talk, from Linda's talk, from today's talk, everything that you try and implement in your business in the next week. And it goes wrong, and you have your first, let's say you approach a stranger and they think you're weird, or you have your conversation and it doesn't go the way you want. come chat about it at the implementation forum, and we will help you to make sure that the second one goes better. Okay. And thank you again for showing up. Thank you for, we are a bit over time, but I think it was really valuable, very well spent, very happy that I'm very happy to have been here longer. So thank you so much, Christine. And if you haven't joined our Facebook group yet, please go join the Facebook group, because I do put a lot of our links and announcements and things in there in the members Facebook group. So do go click on that. And some of you here tonight, I know, have not actually joined the members portal. You're members, but you haven't actually clicked in the portal and joined. Do that as well, because again, all the recordings are there, your link to the Facebook group is there, the announcements are there, and everything like that. So please do join us next week. Have a wonderful week in the meantime, and best of luck building your foundations.
Good luck, everybody.